All right, here we go. Second to the last video, and we're going to talk about what the sauce looks like now that it's been in the Vitamix for about 10 minutes. And we're going on the next category of our Nourish Bowl, which is greens. So welcome back. This is Rachel Matthews. You're in my kitchen, and we're talking about Nourish Bowls today, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine recipe for Nourish Bowls. You can download that PDF from their website. And so I want to show you what I'm going off of here. This is the PDF online. Can you see that? There are 6 categories: greens, other veggies, protein, carbohydrate, what's that one? Oh, healthy fats, and toppings. All right, so we're gonna talk about leafy greens during this video. I'm gonna chop up just some basic fresh greens. That's the base, that's the foundation of your bowl. If you can add a cup, even just a half a cup, but start somewhere. Start with a quarter cup, a half a cup, but if you can build your way up to a cup and a half of fresh chopped greens at the base of every plate you eat, of maybe breakfast. I add greens to my oatmeal. My husband and I both do. So that's another time, another video. But that's the quinoa. It's telling us it's done. And so now I'm gonna let that self-release a little bit on the Instant Pot. But with greens, if you can add a cup or two of fresh greens to every meal, especially like lunch, okay, add a bunch of fresh greens, of course, in a salad, or to your sandwich, to your cup of soup. Can you toss in some greens and let them kind of flash wilt in the heat of the soup? But in this recipe, we're doing bowls, and you start off with fresh greens. You don't cook them, you don't saute, you don't boil. The heat from everything else kind of flash wilts, warms them up, and it goes nicely with the rest of the bowl. And here you are already getting a cup to 2 cups of fresh greens. So that's the first thing. We've got roasted veggies. Let's check those right now. As you can see right here, the tofu came out, and as I expected, it was about 20 minutes of roasting at 400, and they're perfect. I tasted one, and it's delicious. It's crunchy and toasty on the outside, and it's still got a nice texture on the inside. It's not dried out. It's not kind of chewy or gummy. It's delicious. So it's gonna be perfect in this recipe. So I've got those just over here, cooling a little bit. Let's take a look at our roasted veggies. These have been in now for, 35 minutes. And remember, like I said, it's because they were frozen. So they gave off a lot of liquid when they first started to cook. And so that liquid had to cook down. But now you can see the broccoli is really frizzling. Things are starting to get a little caramelized. And I'm gonna go a few more minutes. I have the time. I'm waiting for my quinoa to stop, and I'm chopping up my greens. So I'm gonna go a few more minutes. It can use it. And I think the more I go, it's just gonna have that delicious caramelized flavor. So I am gonna toss it around a little bit though. Yeah. And I put this back on the top shelf now that the tofu is out and it's roasting still at 400. I could probably, if I would have thought about it, I could have turned it up to 425 or 450 and made it go a little bit faster. All right, I'm gonna go 5 more minutes, see how that looks. At this point, I don't wanna risk it and go too long, because they go from perfect to fried very quickly. All right, so can you see the Instant Pot? I don't know if you can see the steam coming out of there, but the sauce is ready, and it is, oh my gosh, it is delicious. Oh, it smells so good. So this is ready to go. I'm just gonna leave it in the Vitamix until we're ready to pour it out. But if it cools off a little bit by the time I'm ready, I'll just blend it up for another couple minutes, and you can literally cook food in the Vitamix. So you can make soup in the Vitamix. In fact, you could eat that as soup right now. But anything you leave in the Vitamix 6 to 10 minutes, it's gonna cook up and it's gonna start steaming. So remember, I put all the veggies in there raw. I did not pre-cook anything. And I've already tasted it. It's very good. All right, so now we're going to the greens. We've done the protein here. Our fiber-rich carbs are in the Instant Pot. That's the quinoa. Our healthy fats. So the last 2 categories are healthy fats and toppers. I've put both of those in the Vitamix sauce. Now I did chop up some fresh tomatoes to toss on top because I think that's really good. And I'm gonna I don't have fresh parsley. I wish I had fresh parsley. I'm just gonna put in some dried parsley. Those are the only two toppers I'm putting on, but the sauce has the nuts, the cashew, so that's the healthy fat, and it has the turmeric and the garlic and the spices. So I don't really need an extra topper. So I kind of combined the healthy fat and the spices together. So category 5 and 6 I put together. And that's all 6 of the categories for the Nourish Bowl. All right, so literally a box of fresh greens. We just got this at the grocery store yesterday. And you know, I mean, normally I would probably prefer kale or spinach or arugula just by itself. This is all sorts of stuff. This is spinach, this is radicchio, this is this, little baby kale, I think. I don't know. I don't care. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be delicious. So what I'm gonna do is I've got a couple of handfuls out, and I'm gonna chop it. The finer you chop it, the more it heats up and kind of wilts in the bottom of your bowl. I'm not making a salad, so I don't want big bites. I want little bites. So I'm gonna just start chopping this. And I'm making enough right now for my husband and myself for our dinners tonight. And see how I can just roll off of the cutting board with this knife. Once you get used to it and you figure out how to hold it, I would strongly recommend watching a YouTube video on how to chop. It has saved me so much time in the kitchen. So, but I do need some space. Keeping my fingers curled as I guide back, so I don't chop my fingers off, right? And I'll just kind of turn the greens. And I do like them pretty finely cut for this dish. All right, can you kind of see that? Okay, so now I'll probably cut more. Here's my bowl. I'm gonna take 1 handful, put it at the bottom of my bowl. This is larger than a cereal bowl, but not quite as big as like a giant soup bowl. I mean, you can see how big it is. I'm gonna put a little bit more. So I'm definitely gonna add, I'm gonna cut up some more. So do you see I have a nice bed at the bottom of my bowl? Let's get another bowl for Peter. And while I'm waiting, let's get that up. So you can see how big of a handful I'm taking. I kind of like to roll up my greens. Do you see how I'm kind of rolling it up in a I don't know, kind of smash it up. Makes it a lot easier to chop. I know he likes a lot of greens, so I know he's gonna want. All right, there we go. Okay, let's check the roasted veggies and see if we're done. We might be ready to build the bowl. Whew. I want to go a little bit longer still, because the Brussels sprouts aren't quite where I want them. Broccoli's getting there though. The bell peppers are kind of getting caramelized. Actually, no, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with that. I don't want to press my luck. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the oven. Let's put this somewhere else. So I'm literally just going to, here we go, you didn't just see my kitchen. But it's not so bad. I've been kind of cleaning up as I go, so not too much of a mess. I'm literally going to just leave this out, and this is how we're going to build it. So it's just my husband and I tonight for dinner, but if it was the rest of the family, I would, you know, stack a pile of bowls over here, and they'd kind of come through and scoop this, scoop this, pour that, and you're good to go. I'm not going to bring this to the table. I'm not going to put this in a bunch of serving bowls. I mean, if I was serving a guest and we were having this as a family thing, I might put it in pretty bowls and have like a build your own bowl type of thing. And I might have more toppings too in that case. I might have different ideas. This is a great idea for a family get together, some kind of a potluck. If everyone brought different types of spiced things or different types of foods, you would have multiple different types of vegetables and lots of different ways to build your bowl. So that could be really fun, like some freshly chopped and finely cut cabbage. Oh, it's so crispy and crunchy. It adds a really great, either for your base of the bowl or for a topper. Pepitas, right? Those raw pumpkin seeds would be a great topper. So would, in fact, we could put some of those on. The hemp seeds. Hemp seeds would be a great topper. The different types of vegetables you add, you can roast, but you can also saute. You can do it that way. You don't have to go with a sauce. You can go with just spices and really heavily spice your foods, and then you don't need a sauce. You can go with tempeh, tofu, beans instead of tofu. You could do some sort of a legume or a bean, lentil. You could do brown rice, bulgur, farro, sorghum. I'm doing quinoa tonight. You could leave the grain out altogether. If you're worried about grains and you're trying to limit the number of grains you're eating, I hear you and I understand, but I would really strongly urge you to choose a whole grain over a bagel or a donut or just straight sugar, right? Those are the carbohydrates you really need to be staying away from. The processed carbohydrates, the processed sugars, the foods without nourishment. Whole grains can be a healthy food if you keep the portion in control and you balance it out with the rest of the foods you're eating during the day. So please don't forego the rice, and instead you're eating a Snickers bar in the afternoon. That's the wrong kind of substitution. All right. If you're going to swap out the rice or the quinoa and you're going to add more greens, more vegetables, great, do that. Okay. So what do we have? Let's see. This probably needs to steam out a bit. I'm going to stop the video, check my quinoa, see if it's ready to go, fluff it up a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how I build a bowl, and that will be the final portion of this video series. All right, see you there.